So coming off of the end of the previous episode, we saw that Denji had killed the Bat Devil after it had eaten Power and her cat. And coming into the beginning of this episode, we're seeing that he was able to save her by just pulling it out of the carcass of the Bat Devil because he just ate them whole and like didn't chew. And Power's asking him like, why did you save me? Like, I betrayed you. And this is because, before Power had joined the public safety and became a devil hunter, she randomly ran into the Bat Devil and it took her cat and like forced her to find a human for it to eat. And she eventually led Denji to where the Bat Devil was, tricking him in the process. And Denji, knowing this, still wound up saving Power anyway, because first of all, the answer that he gives her is, pointing to her chest, saying that, we still have a deal. I wanted to touch her chest because, we found out previously that this is one of Denji's big goals at the moment. Aside from like his ultimate goal of scoring, he wants to touch a girl's chest in the meantime. So that was like one of his big motivating factors here in saving Power despite her betraying him. But also he kind of saw in the last moments before she was eaten that she was sorry for what she did, because when the Bat Devil ate her cat Meowie, she kind of had like a shift in her character at that moment. She realized like, oh, this feels like crap, losing the thing that you love, which she finally understood what Denji was talking about when he told her that he lost Pochita. And also right after this, she straight up apologizes for betraying, saying, forgive me. So all of this together pretty much led Denji to forgiving Power for what she had done. But of course, the main thing is that he wants to touch her chest, of course. But then randomly, the Leech Devil shows up and just takes off Denji's hand, because apparently the Leech Devil was like in a relationship with the Bat Devil, and Denji's unable to go like full Chainsaw Man mode at this point because he lost too much blood in the fight against the Bat Devil. So he's only able to go like, 30% of his power at this point. Like, he can only make the chainsaw come out so far, but he also seems to retain like superhuman physicality for sure, given how he's able to fight against the Leech Devil in this sequence. And the Leech Devil winds up saying that like, me and the Bat Devil shared a dream of killing and eating all of humanity. It's a pipe dream, but a noble one and a romantic one. And now this little yipping dog, referring to Denji, has ruined it. You need to die now. And Denji's like, I'm not dying before I cop a feel. And then the Leech Devil's like, that's ridiculous to think that he was killed by someone with such a trashy dream. And this triggers Denji because, as we've seen through the last couple episodes, Denji doesn't like the fact that his dreams and motivations are being looked down on. And he remembers back to all of the other motivations that characters that he's met and whatnot have had throughout the series. First of all, Aki telling Denji that he's the only one that's not taking this serious, and only the people that are like serious and have real motivations are going to survive being devil hunters. So like Aki's motivation being revenge, the police officers, protecting their families, and more recently we saw that Power wanted to save her cat. And Denji's like, I guess your fancy dreams make you guys some hot shots. Well, how about we have us a dream battle then? If I win, that means that your dream's weaker than just touching a chest. So yeah, this is like what we've been talking about these last couple videos, that Denji's not the traditional MC. Of course, he has different motivations. He grew up differently, has a different life, different mindset, but he's very serious just as the rest of them. But he continues to fight against the Leech Devil in this really great sequence where he just becomes fully unhinged. Like, he's going full crazy mode at this point. But unfortunately, he just comes up a little short because, he's not strong enough. He can't go full power, and he winds up getting stabbed through his chest, like with the Leech Devil's tongue, until at the last second, Aki comes in using the Fox Devil, kills the Leech Devil. And this is like a surprise at first. You're like, wait, how is Aki able to do this? Well, it's actually revealed in the following sequence here, because Aki winds up taking Denji to the hospital afterward, giving him like a blood transfusion, and this allows Denji to like regenerate his arm because, devils can heal through consuming blood. But then Denji's like, you seem pretty friendly with that devil back there, referring to the Fox Devil that we saw kill the Leech Devil. And Aki's like, devil hunters form contracts with devils in order to fight against them. In exchange for power, I offer up a bit of my body as food. It was some skin this time. And this is like one of the really cool aspects of this series, and something we're going to see a lot more going forward. This is just like a part of being a devil hunter in the public safety. Like, as the series goes on, we're going to see more and more devil hunters have different contracts with different devils, and some the same as well, because this is like the way that normal humans can get like powers and supernatural abilities. So then he winds up talking to Denji about what happened with him and Power and the Bat Devil, and he's like, we saw on camera that you guys were going to the Bat Devil's house, and when we got there, we found that your blood was all over the place. And it's like, did Power try to kill you? And Denji's like, I don't know, is that how it happened? So he's pretty much covering for Power in this sequence. And Aki knows it, but he's kind of just letting it fly, because we see like these testimonials that Aki got from the people that Denji had saved in the previous episode, like that woman in the building, the daughter and her father, but then also that one guy that was in the car that he threw at the Bat Devil when he said he didn't care about saving a dude, which is, you know, like funny because he's not a woman. And this makes Aki come around to Denji more than he has before. Like, he's starting to lighten up to Denji here. He's like, you know what, maybe he's not so bad. And he's also, you know, if I dig deeper into this, I report it to the higher ups and, you know, the Blood Devil gets disposed of along with you. But since there were no fatalities, if you're willing to accept one condition, I'll let what happened slide. And it's basically just, you know, do what I tell you. Like, stop butting heads with me. Just work with me here and we can get along and be, you know, successful devil hunters pretty much. And Denji pretty much complies with this. And this, you know, further brings Aki more around to Denji. So now they're getting a little closer here and their relationship is way better than it was, you know, in the last couple episodes. But Denji also says, like, I might dream small, but I'm as serious about this as you are. So you can count on me. Like, going more into, like, yeah, Denji doesn't have the traditional motives of, like, you know, the typical anime NCs, but they're just as serious. So then Aki winds up meeting with Makima later, and he's going over, you know, what had happened with the Bat Devil, the Leech Devil, Denji, and Power. But then he says something super interesting here, and he's like, there were no traces of gun flesh in either the Bat or Leech Devil's heads. And they kind of just leave it there and they don't talk about it anymore. But this is like a huge aspect of the series going forward. Like, the gun flesh is like one of the big storylines for sure, and it's going to go on for, I don't know, at least another 2 seasons. Like, I don't know how far part 1 of Chainsaw Man is going to go, but I assume they can at least stretch it to at least 3 seasons, maybe 4. But Makima's like, you know, Denji and Power managed to get pretty far without anyone noticing, leaving the approved areas against regulations, like, you know, them going to the Bat Devil's house when they weren't approved to. And Aki, like, winds up covering for them. And he's like, you know, considering there were no fatalities and we were able to get rid of 2 devils, I think it's worth overlooking. So yeah, further going into Aki, like, coming around to Denji and Power here, realizing that, like, okay, maybe they weren't so bad. So then we wind up going back to Aki and Denji kind of just living their normal apartment lives. And we see that Denji is improving. Like, he's not as messy as he was before. They're not, you know, arguing and butting heads as much. Until suddenly just Power busts down the door, because it turns out that she's now going to be living with them as well. And we see that Aki winds up calling Makima, and she's like, I'd like to put Power up in one of your rooms. You know, I think you'll make a good leash for the 2 of them. And Aki's like, you know, is there some reason why you're sending me with all these psychos? And she's like, that's because I trust you more than anyone else. And this is all she pretty much has to say. Like, that immediately causes a 180 in Aki. He's like, oh, okay. And he's like blushing because obviously he has a thing for Maki. So her saying that she trusts him the most, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm on board. Afterwards, we get like this montage of Power just being an awful roommate, like throwing vegetables everywhere, not flushing the toilet, not taking a bath. You know, she's kind of like how Denji was at first, but, you know, worse. But it's also just showing how far Denji and Aki have come since, you know, they started living together, and now they're kind of seeing Power as like the problematic one. So like I said before, Denji had some growing pains to go through and still does, but Power has even more so. So then we come to the final sequence of the episode, and Denji's like cleaning the toilet because Power like messed it up with her toilet habits. And she's suddenly like, hey, you know, we had a deal, didn't we? I said if you'd help me save my cat from the Bat Devil, that you could touch my chest. And she's pretty much straight up gonna let him do it here. Like, she's fulfilling her end of the bargain. And she's like, you know, I'll give you 3 touches, 1 for saving the cat, 1 for killing the Bat Devil, and 1 for sticking up for me against Aki and not ratting me out. So yeah, this is just also further showing that Power is remorseful for what she has done and holding up her end of the bargain, even though she knows how ridiculous this is. She still is allowing Denji to do it despite that, because, you know, he saved her and she's feeling more empathy now, which is unusual for, you know, a devil and a fiend. And that's where the episode ends. We don't get to see it, but I'm not going to spoil this sequence for you, but I'll just say that this sequence will pick up in the beginning of the next episode, I'm pretty sure, and it's not going to be anticlimactic, surprisingly. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments, and if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.